Morning everyone. I hope you all are fine. Alright, so I was just doing the checkup of every aspect so that the light, fan, everything is okay so that I can start the class on the whiteboard. So I hope you all are well and keeping yourself safe during this pandemic. Now last class I have discussed about TEV, the economics of ecosystems and biodiversity. We have also covered topic on the part of biodiversity values there. Ecosystem services and biodiversity values, we have discussed that. So we have already covered certain topics with respect to biodiversity in terms of definition of biodiversity, levels of biodiversity, values of biodiversity. Alright. Now what we are going to discuss in today's class is that we will go to the threats to biodiversity. What are the threats or loss to biodiversity? We'll also study about biodiversity measurement. How scientists get to understand the biodiversity of any local area. So we'll be covering the biodiversity measurement part, right? There we'll discuss about alpha, beta, gamma, all those areas we'll cover in the classroom. Plus we are also going to discuss in the classroom about conservation. We'll go into the topic of biodiversity conservation, in situ conservation, ex situ conservation. We are going to cover in today's class. So what I would like to just request all of you is that you have two handouts. You have been given two handouts that have been uploaded in the login page, and you have to download those two handouts. One handout is a map. I have given few maps which are connected together, maps are there. And second, I have given you from Vision IS study material, threatened species of India. Let me show you those reports which I have given there. So kindly download those two handouts. Those who have joined and seen the login page and downloaded, please reply to me that they have downloaded. Otherwise, the others who have just joining the class, please download those two documents. I'll just show you the documents there. This is one document in terms of biodiversity maps. Okay, these are the maps here. This I have given, this is already there in the handout. When you go to the handout segment, you have these maps are given there. Right, since we will be doing the mapping in the classroom also, so I have given you this one document. This is one document. Second document is this one. Right, the second document I have given this particular one, where you have appendix there, critically endangered species of India. Then you have all the national parks, sanctuaries, biosphere reserve. Now here, map of biosphere reserves in India. Then you have description of biosphere reserves, and after this you have a national park, sanctuaries that is given there. These are the national parks and sanctuaries, national parks given there, and then you have a description of that. So you have these two documents which are uploaded there. I hope you all have downloaded this. Have you all downloaded this? सभी ने डाउनलोड कर लिया है? All right, that's really good. So thank you. You have downloaded, and it's really good. So then we'll start with the subject there. Then we are going to start with the topic there. So we'll now start with the subject. One by one we'll go into every area on that. So our first part of discussion is that we have already covered biodiversity values and importance of biodiversity. Now we'll come to the threats to biodiversity, right? So let us understand here threats to biodiversity. Again I am making a flow chart which you have to copy it. Threats to biodiversity. This again from a flowchart point of view, I'll write all the important threats here. See, when you talk about loss of biodiversity, they are both natural as at the same time man-made or anthropogenic. Both causes are there. But let's understand from a human perspective. The first one, what comes here is the habitat fragmentation and destruction. Today, because of human activities, there are many reasons by which habitat is getting fragmented or habitat loss is taking place, right? What are those points there? Like for example, mining, right? Mining project. Then in terms of infrastructure project, right? Infrastructure, mining, right? Expansion of agriculture. We require more food, and in this context, expansion of agriculture, we are converting the land into agriculture land, right? Then hydropower project. All these factors can lead to the habitat loss. It can cause habitat loss and the loss of the biodiversity, right? It may also drive the species to extinction. We'll see in today's class about red data book. So species which have been listed by IUCN, then there can be threats to them because of such human activities there. Second threat what comes here in terms of biodiversity is that invasive alien species, right? Invasive alien species. They are also called as exotic species. They are referred to as exotic species. They are introduced from outside. They come from outside the habitat, and then they cause problem to the habitat, right? There are so many exotic species are there, right? And these exotic species can result into the loss of native species there. Native species can be lost because of the this kind of alien species. Let me give you this example here. Let's say for example, Prosopis juliflora. It was asked in UPSC prelims exam. There was a direct question about migratory type of this is the plant, Juliflora prosopis. This was introduced in Tamil Nadu in terms of meeting the demand of fuel wood, firewood or fuel wood for local communities. But now this particular plant, Juliflora prosopis, has spread throughout the state. It is also called in Tamil, there is a name called here, Simai. It is also called as a Simai Karuvelam. This is the Tamil name of Juliflora prosopis. There was a direct question in the exam that Juliflora prosopis seen in the news is what? A, B, C, D. A direct question was asked. So here this is the one example. Then lantana. There is another plant variety called lantana. This is a scientific name. I am writing here. Scientific name. Lantana camara. Right. Then I'll give you this water hyacinth. You know about water hyacinth, which basically chalk the water body. Water hyacinth. Water hyacinth is an invasive species. Apart from that, there are certain birds also like pigeon, house pigeon. Then you have a tilapia. There is a fish variety called as the tilapia. It has been now considered as a kind of invasive species. Apart from that, let's say here catfish, African catfish. Right, this was introduced. Catfish, you know, that is black in color. It is used for sold in the market. African catfish is an invasive species there. Right, as catfish is invasive species. So there are so many of them which have now migrated to the native habitat and are causing problem to the local environment. They affect the native biodiversity. The native biodiversity that get affected because of such kind of a invasive species. They migrate. They migrate from one habitat to another. Right? They migrate from one habitat to another. Now let's understand here. Another part which comes here, that is which you all know, that climate change. Global warming and climate change. Rising temperature. As the temperature of the earth's surface will rise by more than 2 to 5 degrees Celsius, many of species will become extinct. It is said that the earth is now going to face 6th mass extinction. 6th mass extinction. In the past, there have been 5 mass extinction. Now earth is going toward the 6th mass extinction that can be caused because of loss of biodiversity, habitat loss and climate change. So climate change is a factor there. Like polar bear, which live on the Arctic ice. If the Arctic ice will melt, then the polar bear will also lose the habitat, will not be able to survive, right? wildfire, let's say now wildfire, forest fire, wildfire, you all know the Australian bushfire, the entire number of species which got lost because of the bushfire. So that can be a big problem there, climate change. So climate change is another factor. Now what comes here, apart from that, there's another, you all are aware of this threat. It's another big problem which is happening worldwide, right? Including India, that is in terms of environmental pollution, right? And climate change is also because of the environmental pollution, right? Environmental pollution is also causing the climate change part of greenhouse gas and the emission that is causing the problem of that environmental pollution there. Like for example, you know that Gangetic dolphin, which is called national aquatic animal, right? Gangetic dolphin, which is a national aquatic animal. Now, because of pollution of river Ganga, right? Because of pollution of river Ganga, right? This particular dolphin, the numbers have declined. I'll give you another example, like gharial, critically endangered gharial, right? Gangeticus gavialis, that is the name of scientific name of gharial. Now gharial, again pollution, then sand mining on the river bank, pollution aspect, right? And also sometimes accidentally they are killed by fishing boat and all. So gharial or Gangetic dolphin, right? These are now being threatened because of water pollution. There's certain type of turtles also there, which are getting affected because of the water pollution and all. So they are basically affected because of river pollution, water pollution. They are part of that. I'm just giving example, right? Then you know that apart from that, there's another type of pollution called as a genetic erosion, right? Genetic pollution. I'm using the word here, genetic pollution. What is genetic pollution here? At the gene level, at the DNA level, where we unwanted, right? Where we don't require, and we go for more and more hybrid varieties of plants and animals. So here, for example here, unwanted, where the need is not there, and uncontrolled, right? Breeding of animals, that is a hybridization. Hybridization or breeding of animals. Today you know that scientists, what they do? They have interbreeding, they interbreed or crossbreed two varieties and create a new variety, either of crop, rice, wheat, vegetables, fruits, or animals, cows, buffalo, cattle, where we do the breeding program and we develop that. But you may ask that, sir, that is a good thing for biodiversity, because if we breed and we get a new breed variety, that will add biodiversity. But the problem is not that addition of biodiversity. Problem is what? The native stock, the native variety, the ancestor, from where that particular variety has been made, that ancestral variety is lost. Then you know about GM food, genetic modified, right? Genetically modified or genetic modified plants and animals, GM, right? In terms of GM, genetic modified plants, right, and animals, they are again problem there. Like you know that in India, we are growing BT cotton. What we are growing in India? BT cotton, BT. What is BT? Bacillus thuringiensis. BT stands for Bacillus thuringiensis, which is the name of a soil bacterium. A bacteria found in the soil. From there the scientists have taken a gene, the DNA, the gene or DNA which can make a protein which can kill insect, and that gene taken from bacteria has been put in the cotton, has been inserted into cotton with the help of modern biotechnology method of genetic engineering. Scientists today in the lab can carry out genetic engineering, recombinant DNA technology, and can take the gene from one organism and insert into another, creating a kind of transgenic varieties. So what we have done, we have taken a bacteria gene, added in a plant crop, and then now we are promoting that this particular plant which has a pest resistance, insecticidal effect, pesticidal effect, and we want to promote that in the agriculture land, right? We want to promote in the agriculture land. So it has an impact on the native varieties of plants, right? So that's where the comes here, like BT crops and all comes. Then you know that over exploitation, right? Over exploitation of resources, hunting, right? In terms of hunting, then poaching. When we are over exploiting the resources, like for example hunting of wild animals, then we carry out poaching, let's say tiger, elephant, rhinoceros, right? For resources, whatever biological resource we want, and we are over exploiting that part, and we are killing the animals, we are killing the plants, right? So that is again a threat. Over exploitation is a threat. What I've written here is a threat part of hunting, poaching of animals and all this, right? For example, ivory trade and all, elephant get affected there, right? So this is where you have the entire aspect of it. I have just given point wise what are the major threats to biodiversity, what I have drawn on the diagram here, right? Any doubt you have, any question you want to ask? If you have not understood anything, you can ask me. I will add further more on that. I'll give you more information. I'll give you more information on that. Scientific names you don't have to remember. You don't have to remember the name of scientific names, you don't have to remember, right? You don't have to remember the scientific names of that, but sometimes in the current aspect, right? Sometimes in the current level you have to know from there, right? Gopi Setti Sai, the Bacillus thuringiensis is not thuringiensis, TH, right? So that's where the comes into that. Hunting is that killing, poaching is that you are taking out the body part. Mr. Chavan, Giridhar Ramrao Chavan, your question the difference. Hunting is killing the animal. Poaching means you take out the skin or bones or any part of the animal. That is called poaching. Hybridization results into the loss of native varieties. The ancestral stock that gets affected. I'll come to the most threatening to the less threatening there. Let's say for example, I'll just come to that part, you will be able to understand that which is more and which is less there. What do you think? Like, what do you think? Which can be the most major threat? What can be the major threat? Let's say if UPSC asks a question there, so what can be the major threat? I have already written everything on the whiteboard there. So please try to just write that part. Again, Nikhil is asking that, again you are asking the examples there. Lantana, then all this part comes. I'll do one thing here. What I'll do right now, habitat loss is the major threat. I have already given you a practice of that. If you take this one, if you recollect that last time we have discussed in the classroom that which of following benefits are derived from biodiversity, we have covered this in the classroom there, right? So pollination, waste treatment, protection from natural calamities. The question number 1, if we take the question number 1, then question number 1, all of these are correct, right? Question number 1, you will find all of these are correct there, right? you'll find that all of these are correct. The benefits for pollination, waste treatment, protection there. The answer is D here, right? Now let's say question number 2. Which of following is the major cause of loss of biodiversity? Most important cause. Let's say you have a question here, major cause of loss to biodiversity, right? So major cause of loss of biodiversity is the habitat destruction. Habitat loss is the habitat loss. So here answer is D, right? Habitat loss. All these are loss to biodiversity, but habitat loss is the major cause of loss of biodiversity. And habitat loss can be because of natural reason also. At the same time, it can be because of the human activities there, right? So habitat loss, because if there is habitat loss, there will be direct extinction of species, right? It results into direct extinction of species. Right? Now let's say, for example, question number 3. Right, question number 3, if we take question number 3 here. Which of following is a threat to biodiversity? Climate change, land use change, pollution, invasive alien species. So what will be answer here? What will be answer in this question? Question number 3. If we take question number 3, what will be answer here? In question number 3, climate change is also threat, right? Land use change is also threat. In water pollution is also threat, and invasive alien species are also threat. So here the answer will be D. The answer is D here, right? The answer is D here. All right. Now let me come across here. The answer will be D here, right? The answer will be D here. So D will be the answer of, like, see, you can get question, either can be a direct one question like which of the major cause of loss of biodiversity, or you could get is a question like multiple choice, right? Multiple choice can be there. Now my question here is that, have you written that? Have you written the, right? Have you copied this part of it? We have already covered this one. Have you copied this whiteboard? Have you copied the whiteboard? Have you copied the whiteboard? Have you all copied the whiteboard? Okay, this is the whiteboard here. Have you all copied it? I'll come to the part of species there, like invasive alien species and all. We'll cover that. But first I want that you have copied the whiteboard. If you have copied the whiteboard, then I'll come back to the invasive alien species there. If you have copied the whiteboard, then I'll go into more explanation part of it, if you have copied it. Alright, so let me come to the part of it. Let us now come into that. I hope you all have copied it. See, invasive species, I'll come to that. I'm going to explain what is invasive species and GM and all this one, but if you have copied this flowchart first, then I can go into that. Alright. So I'm just giving you time there. If you are copying that, please copy this one. I've just moved away from the board so that all of you can copy this part of it. Right? If you have done the whiteboard, then I'll give you more explanation part so that you will be able to understand more into that. So first I gave you the kind of which you have to remember from direct type of question. Whenever question will be direct, question will be there. All right. Okay, done. So that's good. So I'll clean the whiteboard then. Let me clean the whiteboard here. Now let's see here. I have invasive alien species. Invasive alien species has become the second biggest threat for wildlife and biodiversity. Right? It has now become a big threat for native species and all. So let me explain here two aspects which you are not able to understand based on your doubts. Let me explain here two aspects of that. First is that invasive alien species. Invasive alien species, right? It is also called IAS. What are those species here? These are those species that are non-native. Right? They are non-native. They come from outside. They are non-native and are introduced. Either human being introduced them, introduced by human beings in agriculture, right? Either in agriculture or horticulture, right? It can be horticulture also there, or let's say even in terms of pisciculture, aquaculture, right? They are non-native species and are introduced by humans in agriculture, horticulture, pisciculture, etc., or right, or naturally come to habitat by its fast migratory nature. They have a fast migratory nature, migratory or dispersive nature. They disperse very fast. What is a invasive alien species? They are non-native. They are coming from outside. They are outside from the habitat. Either we as a human beings in aquaculture, pisciculture, or agriculture, or horticulture, we bring them from outside. We introduce them from outside. Or maybe sometimes by the wind or by the biological organisms or by any agency of the nature, they are able to migrate and move to a new habitat. They are called invasive alien. Alien means outsider, right? That's where the alien word comes here. So they come, they naturally, they may be brought into that, right? What is another thing here about such kind of species? They have certain, they are able to adapt. These species are able to adapt and multiply very fast. Adapt, breed or multiply fast, dominate the new habitat, right? They dominate the new habitat and use the resources to their advantage. Use resources, whatever resources are there, water, food, whatever resources, to their advantage. And in that cause, they can act as a predator. Sometimes there may not be any predator of those organisms, or there may not be any competitor of that organism in that habitat, and they are able to flourish, they are able to multiply, right? So what happens here? They pose, these are species, pose threats to native species there, native varieties of species there. And it can be plant as well as animals. It can be plant also, it can be animal also, right? It can be any kind of, it can be plants, animals, it can be mammal, it can be bird, it can be amphibian, it can be reptile, it can be any kind of species which has acquired this kind of property, this has got this kind of properties. They are called invasive alien species. Let's say I have given the example there, but still I don't know, one student from your batch, Nikhil, he is still asking for the example. I have written example on the whiteboard, but still he was asking. So I am writing the example again. There is one example I have said here. Let's say plants. If we take the example of plants, right? Like here Juliflora prosopis. This is a kind of a plant there. Then I mentioned lantana, is again a botanical name. Then you know Parthenium, there is another what is called Congress grass, Parthenium, right? These are the plant varieties. And if you take animals, I'll give you example of animals variety also there. Let's say for example animals, if you take the example of animals here, house pigeon, like bird. You know that if you take example of other type of birds like Great Indian Bustard, GIB, right? Flamingos, Great Indian Bustard, sparrow, house sparrow, they are declining in numbers. Vultures, they are declining in numbers. But if you take the example of house pigeon, kabutar, their numbers are multiplying, their numbers are increasing. And you have seen that once you start feeding pigeon, the entire group of pigeons come to that. And they are able to survive in all the habitats. I'll give another example here. House pigeon I have given here, myna. You know the myna there, right? Then I'll give you one example, house gecko. Gecko. What is gecko? Gecko, gecko. You have seen on the wall, chipkali. Have you seen the small gecko? In the house, on the wall and all, you have the gecko there. And they can walk anywhere, and this gecko, small gecko, house gecko. It has spread throughout the country. You will find everywhere in the country the house gecko. I'll give you another example here. I mentioned about this fish variety, that is a African catfish. Right, African catfish. It can be any kind of variety or species which can be, maybe a species which is normal in one country. When you take that species from that country to another country, a foreign land. So on the foreign land, the same species which was natural in one country, in another country it can become invasive. I'll give you a beautiful example, a very good example called Burmese python. Burmese python. There is a type of python, a python found in Myanmar. In Myanmar, what is called Burmese python. This Burmese python was introduced in Arizona in the USA. This python, long python, 6 and 7 feet long python, was introduced from Myanmar to USA, Arizona, to control small population. You know, the python will swallow the small animals. To control the population of small animals, so Arizona government, they introduced this Burmese python from Myanmar to Arizona forest, Everglades Lake and that part. Now what happened after 10 years, 20 years, this python multiplied. The python increased in the numbers. And now they have become invasive in Arizona. It has become a big challenge. It has become a big problem to the Department of the Forest in the state of Arizona in terms of controlling this python, Burmese python. It has been reported in the Hindu paper, BBC World, it has all been reported. Now in India, we have one very important tribe. I don't know how many of you know that. There is a tribe in India called as Irula tribe. I-R-U-L-A, Irula tribe. Irula tribes, they are known to catch snakes. They are snake catchers. Now the two best Irula men have been hired by the Arizona government, and they are catching the Burmese python. They are catching what? Burmese python. Right? So Irula and this Burmese python, it has become part of. So there is a tribe called Irula tribe. I am writing here. They are known for snake catching. They are expert in catching the snake. What is the name of the tribe? Irula tribe. Now in Arizona in USA, to control this Burmese python, these Irula men, the two best experts have been taken to USA, Arizona to catch the Burmese python. Very interesting. It is very, very interesting aspect with what I am now discussing in the classroom. Then I mentioned that African catfish, right? This I have already given. The tilapia is a fish variety. right? All these one if have now become invasive, and I've given that these are the characteristics of invasive species, right? Clear there? So what is my point here? There are certain topics where you could expect questions in the exam, and you need to know about those areas there, which I am covering in the classroom there, right? So you can now copy this one. I'll take you to certain more information through website. Whatever I'm teaching, I'm connecting with website also there. So please first copy the whiteboard. I'm giving you time to copy the whiteboard, then I'll come to the website there. I think Nikhil, is it clear to you? I think I hope that it is clear to everybody. Please copy the points and please respond to me that you have copied the points there. I am going to show you all this kind of species which I mentioned. There are hundreds of them. It's not one, there are hundreds of them. There are hundreds of them are there. Let's see, this is the house gecko. What you see, this is the house gecko. You have seen this gecko, this is called house gecko. They are invasive in nature there. House gecko, they are invasive in nature. They are invasive in the nature there, gecko. Right? Then let me show you the lantana. You all have seen this lantana, this species there. This is the lantana. I am very sure you would have seen this lantana. This type of flower are there. It's ornamental type of plants which are used there. Right? This is lantana there. Then I'll take you to the parthenium. This is also called congress grass. This is a parthenium. These are parthenium. Right? It's a weed. They spread like a weed. Parthenium. Let me take you another example here. Water hyacinth. You have seen in the pond and lakes and all this water hyacinth. And now you can see water hyacinth. They cover the entire stretch of water bodies. They cover entire one. This is water hyacinth. Right? This is the invasive species. Or let me take you to this African catfish. You can just do the Google search and you will be able to see this species here. African catfish. This is a catfish. These are sold in the market. These all are sold in the market. You will find this African catfish, they are sold in the market. Sometimes for our own kind of earning income, we introduce this kind of species there. African catfish. Or they cause problem to rohu, katla, native varieties there. Then I'll take you to the tilapia. This tilapia, so there are hundreds of them are, now this is tilapia. Is an invasive variety of species of fish, tilapia there. Right? Now you can see here, the Juliflora prosopis. What is the name given? Simai caruvelum. Tamil name is Simai caruvelum. A savior turned villain whose tentacles spread far and wide. It came in the news in 2017. Now you can see that. Local people are trying to weed out this particular plant. What is called Prosopis juliflora. And see here it causes dermatitis, stomach poisoning, even death. This plant causes there. So what is it here? In 1960 it was introduced in Tamil Nadu to meet the firewood shortage. But now it has spread everywhere. And what is the name here? Juliflora prosopis. This is the name. Prosopis juliflora. What is called is Simai caruvelum. right? Prosopis juliflora, Simai caruvelum. Madras High Court has asked the state government of Tamil Nadu to weed out this particular invasive plant, right? It came in the Hindu paper, what you can see right now, right? Then I have said here Burmese python. If you take Burmese python, I can give you so many examples. You have to follow the current affairs. You have to follow the current affairs. This is a Burmese python, right? This is a Burmese python. You have to follow the current affairs. And you can see Florida, such a long python. Can you see this python there? Long python there, Burmese python. In Florida and Arizona, it has become a big problem, right? And I have said the Irula tribe man. This is a Irula tribe man. These are what you see, Irula men. Now Irula men here, saving lives for years, ancient snake tribe. Now see here the Irula tribe. Irula Snake Cooperative has revolutionized the part. And they have been providing the part of, now see here, Irula tribe, one of the oldest indigenous communities which live along the border of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. They are called as the Vaidyars, right? Vaidyars and all, Indian system of medicine there. And they have a knowledge of catching the snakes. They can catch snakes there. And anti-venom serum which are made there by immunizing horse and all this, they provide those kind of snakes and all this one. Right? Now what has happened here? Now this Burmese python, it has become a big problem in Arizona. Now if you see here, this Burmese python, right? Two best, see here, invasive python impacted Florida ecosystem, right? It has, you will find all these articles there. And if I just write here, in the Google here, like here, Irula tribemen, if I just write here, Irula tribemen, an article came in BBC, and now you can see here, this is the Indian tribesmen catching giant snakes in Florida. That came in the BBC news. And you can see here, these are the people. Masi Valdian and Gopalan, you can see here. Masi Sadian and Vadival Gopal, right? Masi and Gopal, they have caught 27 Florida this python there, and they have been helping there. They have been involved with this. So his name is Masi Sadian and Vadival Gopal, and they are helping to catch the this Burmese python there. Right? Were you aware of this one? Were you aware of all this? Were you aware of all this? Were you all aware of all this part about Burmese python and all? Alright guys, what I'll do here, I hope you have copied the whiteboard. I'll take you to the, now just see here, I'll take you to a documentary.
Burmese pythons have only a few natural predators: alligators, black bears, cougars, and the Irula tribesmen of India. A centuries-old clan taught to track snakes from the age of 3. And now they're teaming up with their own resident snake hunter in Florida's Everglades. Here's ABC's Gloria Riviera.
They're the apex predators invading the Everglades. Burmese pythons, tens of thousands of them, terrorizing wildlife.
Preying on our endangered species and all our native wildlife.
They are seemingly everywhere.
The woman found a 7-foot Burmese python hiding underneath stacks of clothing.
We do know that there's a lot of missing cats in that neighborhood.
But in reality, they are hard to find. So Florida is thinking outside the box. And inside the brains of Masi Sarayan and Vedivel Gopal.
Go, get now.
Experts from India's renowned snake-catching Irula tribe.
Woo!
They have been hunting snakes since they were 3 years old, and they know things they can't even explain to us.
For 2 months only, they've come to the Everglades to do this.
Yeah, give him some help.
teaching their techniques to researchers at the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission and the University of Florida.
We got another one, Alligator Ron.
Former Commissioner Alligator Ron Bergeron got his nickname from wrestling alligators, but he's just as eager to get his hands on these pests. He invited us to spend a day on the hunt with the snake-catching combo.
So nice to meet you. I'm Gloria. Mashi. Gloria.
I've reluctantly faced down deadly snakes before. Yes, that's me hiding behind a toddler cowering in India when a cobra appears.
Is he taking it out right now?
Yeah, he is.
He's taking the snake out right now. Okay. Should I stay right here?
Oh my God. Today I'm putting on a brave face because pythons aren't venomous, but that doesn't make them any less lethal. This one, posted by Indonesian news site Tribune Timor, swallowed a man whole.
We've found 7-foot alligators inside of them.
Inside them.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to look for now.
Yes.
We set out in a swamp buggy,
Are you ready, Masi?
covering a lot of ground,
No snakes yet.
slowly.
They are laser focused. Masi and Verivel, their eyes are just shh.
You can see how difficult it is with the landscape here and the color of the snake to start with being all camoed. You have to really, really concentrate.
Suddenly, Alligator Ron hits the brakes, and then the trackers brake for the sawgrass.
Masi and Verivel think they spotted a snake trail. They can actually see the path these animals carved through the Everglades.
But this trail belongs to another reptile.
So what we were seeing up above was a trail that looked like a snake trail, but it's really an alligator trail.
Masi and Verivel take a knee to roll a tobacco cigarette, a routine break that renews their focus. And then instantly they're off again, darting in and out of the brush.
It's a slow process. And so far, no python yet, but that's not unusual. It's hard to find these snakes.
It is so hard that there are numerous python catching efforts around the state.
It's not about the money, it's about the Everglades.
The South Florida Water Management District paid an hourly wage to a group of specially selected wranglers. And the FWC is trying everything from detection dogs to training amateurs to catch pythons.
I'm going to hold it with 2 fingers. Who wants to go first? Your fingers will hold them too.
They even hold competitions to encourage the public to get in on the hunt.
You don't think it might bite you?
It might, but then I'll be able to pull it out of there.
Nightline spent a day with last year's winning team, the Cypress Boys. They made it look easy, spotting one from their car.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Cold. Cold. My God.
Watch it. Come here. There he is. There he is.
That's him.
And then catching 2 more at once.
Yay!
They caught 4 that day, winning the Python Challenge by catching 33 in a month.
Ready?
Yeah.
That's the same number that Masi and Verivel end up catching during their trip to the Sunshine State.
Our mission is not yet finished. We are getting onto these boats to go check out some of the waterways because that's where pythons like to hang out.
We island hop. Got it. And our team battles some very thick branches, heading for holes and other potential hideouts.
In case one attacks you.
Okay.
Why don't we go with these guys?
Wherever Verivel goes, I try to follow.
It's getting a little challenging. That's far enough for me. Ah!
Despite Masi and Verivel's previous success, the snakes remain elusive on this day.
When you approach this problem, the goal is not to catch every python in the Florida Everglades.
Well, that's what we'd like to do, but
Yeah.
we don't believe that you can ever capture all the python. What we're trying to do is kind of control it. And that's why we have the Python Challenge, to educate the public. That's why we brought the Irula Indians in.
Yeah.
Helping Florida try to get a handle on their python problem. For Nightline, Gloria Riviera in the Florida Everglades.
I hope you all have copied the whiteboard. I hope that you all have copied the whiteboard. So I'm just cleaning the whiteboard there. Right? I will again explain one more concept. genetic pollution. I mentioned genetic pollution. I'll explain that part. Is it clear now? Invasive alien species? It can be any kind of a species. It can be plant, it can be animal, that which are non-native. So they create problem for native variety of species there. All right. So let me clean the whiteboard then. I hope that your biology classes have been done. I can at least assume that your bio class has been done. So you may be aware of genetics and biotechnology part, right? What I have mentioned that hybridization, over hybridization, right? So what happens here when we do the interbreeding, right? When there is a interbreeding, right? And crossbreeding, when we do the breeding of plants and animals there, right? When we take two varieties of species and we breed them together, particularly in agriculture, right? So we create some kind of hybrid varieties. Like, hybrid varieties of crop. Let's say more yield, high yield variety, which can have more yield of the rice or wheat varieties. So what is the problem here? When we create these hybrid varieties, where we require it is all right. Where there is a need, that is all right. But if you have undue, unwanted, where we don't require, so what happens? Excessive, if you do the excessive hybridization. That is excessive breeding. Let's say when you have excessive interbreeding and crossbreeding, right, results into loss of ancestral variety. Lineage, from that where the lineage comes into that. The ancestral varieties by which it is a breeding has been done, that ancestral variety will be lost, because we will be only and only cultivating hybrids in the agriculture land. We will only promote the hybrid animal which can give us more milk, more milch. We will promote only hybrid animals. So the original indigenous ancestral variety is lost. So what happened? The original that is lost there. That get lost, right? Where we require and in a controlled manner, I am talking about controlled manner is all right. Where in agriculture we require something in a controlled manner, that is acceptable. But where we don't require and unwanted we are doing hybridization, that will result into the loss. What is called here genetic erosion. This is called as a genetic erosion. We are eroding the gene pool. We are losing the gene pool. It happens in humans also. In human being also we have marriages, right? We marry, there is the marriages are there, wedding and marriages. What happens in marriages? When you marry a girl or a girl marries a boy, right? Man and women, you have a children. Children are there. Children get the gene from their parents. And if there are more and more such kind of interbreeding, particularly the family line, why we don't have marriages in the family? Have you ever thought of that? Why don't we have marriages in our own family? Have you thought of that? Have you thought this particular thing that in human beings only, if we promote marriages in the same family, that is among siblings there, what would happen there? It will result into the same gene getting and then causes number of diseases. The next generation will be very vulnerable there. Same happens in the animal and plant world. If it go for hybridization, the logic applies here also, right? Then I have mentioned what genetic modification. Another aspect, one is that this one, and what comes second here? GMO, genetic modified organisms. Today with the modern biotechnology, we can, by genetic engineering, we create this kind of organism by genetic engineering. By using modern biotechnology. Now these GMOs, genetically modified organisms, which are called transgenic, we are adding gene from one organism to another, right? Transgenic varieties. I had given you the example. For example, here BT crops, right? This word BT here, when you talk about the word BT, BT stands for a soil bacteria that is called Bacillus thuringiensis. Thurengensis. This is a soil bacteria which we have inserted into crop, because this bacterial gene Cry1AC make a protein which kill insect. So by having this gene in the cotton, so we don't have to use chemical pesticide, because the protein which will be made by the plant will kill the pest, insect. But again, broad spectrum. What about the effect of this protein to honeybees, birds or other plants? It may be risk, it may be a risk factor, it may result into risk factor, and it is possible that it can happen there. So that kind of protein, BT protein, which go to the soil, water, environment, and then affect other plants, other type of insects. See, all insects are not harmful. All insects and pests are not harmful. Like insects, like for example, earthworm. Earthworm is said to be friend of farmer, but let's say if that get affected, pollinator like honeybees get affected, so that will create the problem there. And again, let's say for example, now the situation is that, let's say BT brinjal, government of India wanted to have BT brinjal in the market, BT bangan, the you know the kind of a debate, कौन सा बैगन का भुर्ता खाना है, बीटी बैगन का या आम बैगन का, right? That is a controversy. Which brinjal you want, a BT brinjal or a normal brinjal there? Lot of debate has happened in India. Lot of civil society organization and NGOs, they have protested against the introduction of BT brinjal or GM food in the market. One aspect is health impact. What impact will be there on human health? And second is the biodiversity loss. Imagine that. Imagine you have gone to the market. If you have gone to the market, you have seen that in the market there are different varieties of brinjal. If you start from North India to South India, East and West and Center, if you go throughout the country, you have different varieties of brinjal. And let's say the farmers, the government says that no, you don't have to grow the native varieties of brinjal. You have to only grow the BT brinjal. What will happen with the BT brinjal? Farmers who have been cultivating the other varieties of brinjal, they will not cultivate it. Ultimately, what will happen? The native varieties, the original varieties of brinjals will be lost. And who are getting benefited? Big multinational companies like Monsanto. You know about the company called Monsanto? Monsanto, GM seeds and all. Big industries, big multinational companies. They are going to earn money. So it is a big concern that. That's what GM, genetically modified is an organism, is a big concern there. Right? I hope this is clear to everyone. I hope this is clear to everyone. If you have any doubt, please ask me, because now we'll go to the next part of the discussion. Very, very important part. We are going to the next part of discussion there. We have discussed threats to biodiversity. We are now going to have IUCN Red Data Book. We are going to learn about IUCN Red Data Book. If you have any doubt, please ask me. We'll now come to the IUCN Red Data Book. Right? I'll now come to the IUCN Red Data Book. So now let's come to the IUCN Red Data Book. I'll clean the whiteboard. So this is a point I have written here. Now IUCN Red Data Book. Since we have covered the threats to biodiversity, now let's understand IUCN Red Data Book there. But before we go to the IUCN Red Data Book, let us understand here IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. Let's discuss about the organization part. International Union for Conservation of Nature is a global environmental organization. So let me write the point here. IUCN was established, you can write this point in your note copy, in 1948. It was established in 1948. At that time it was called as IUPN, International Union for Protection of Nature. Right, there's a place in France called Fontainebleau. Right, at a place called Fontainebleau in France, BLEO. Right, Fontainebleau in France. There in 1948, this organization was formed, which was later on renamed as IUCN. Now it is a IUCN is a partnership-led organization. Partnership-led global environmental organization. Right? It is an organization, global environmental organization, with membership here, membership of both government and non-government organizations. I am reading out also there. Whatever I am writing on the whiteboard, I am reading out also there. So it is a partnership-led organization with members, more than 200 government organizations. They work with IUCN, and more than 1,000 non-government organizations, NGOs, they work with IUCN as a partner. They, right? Now, what is very important here, that IUCN has been given observer member status. What I am writing here? Observer. Observer member status. Right, observer member status by the United Nations General Assembly. Right, UN General Assembly has given observer status. The General Assembly, the main body of United Nations, has given observer member. What do you mean by observer? What do you mean by the word observer? Observer here means that particular member has all rights of a member, like participating in the discussion, right, discussion on resolution, right, proposed in the United Nations General Assembly, then giving any report to the UN General Assembly, participating in conference, summit and discussion level talks, but they don't have voting right. An observer member does not have voting right, cannot vote on a resolution. So IUCN as a global environmental body has been given this observer member by the UN General Assembly. But can we call IUCN as intergovernmental? Can we call it a intergovernmental? No, we will not call it intergovernmental. What do you mean by the word intergovernmental? Intergovernmental means which is formed by governments. Intergovernmental means which are formed by governments, where the national governments, like India, China, Brazil, US, Russia, France, all these countries, they are the member countries. They have formed that organization. That is called intergovernmental. So what I am saying right now, IUCN is not intergovernmental. Is a global involved body, partnership-led organization, but will not call intergovernmental. Is not an intergovernmental. UNESCO, WHO, UNEP, they are called intergovernmental because they are formed by governments. Governments are the members. They are called intergovernmental. Although IUCN has got observer member status, but still will not call it as a member of UN, right? Complete member of that. Now what comes here? IUCN has here, IUCN prepares. It prepares a red data book. Right, red data book, which is a very important publication of IUCN of threatened species, right? Red data book of threatened species, right? Threatened species, right? Which are facing, right? Which are facing high risks to extinction, which are facing high risks to extinction. If they are not conserved, so in near future, all such species will become extinct. High risk to extinction, right? They are facing risk to extinction. Those threatened species, they are brought into red data book. It's a complete compilation information about such threatened species. It is published at global level. It is published at national level. India has got India's red data book. There's global red data book. There's Indian red data book, right? So this is the extinction part comes into, right? Risk to extinction there. And the 9 categories are there. How many categories are there? 9 categories are there. There are 9 categories under which the species are categorized, right? So this is where I am writing the points on the whiteboard to give you some understanding. Plus I'll again supplement. Now let's look at here. I think you all are able to see the whiteboard. No, we cannot call intra-governmental also. Is it clear, everyone? Have you copied it? If you have copied it, then I can go into more information on that. So how many years IUCN has completed? How many years it has completed? In 1948 it was set up. Right, 1948 it was set up there. And it comes out with this red data book. You all have copied the whiteboard. If you have copied the whiteboard, then I'll just go to the home page of this one. Have you all copied the whiteboard? All right, if you have copied the whiteboard, now let me come to the website of IUCN. Now see, this is the home page of IUCN, right? And you can see here there is something called World Conservation Congress. The World Conservation Congress is a global body of IUCN which every 4 years it organizes a conference, but because of the pandemic, it is now having virtual conference, right? And this year it is going to be organized, last year it was proposed to be organized in 2020, but then what happened, because of pandemic it was delayed, right? World Conservation Congress, that is in Marseille in France. There is a place where the Marseille in France. Marseille is the place in France where this World Conservation Congress. Right now the date is the 29th April, that was virtual event was organized there. Now if you see here further, members, 211 governments are agencies. Government agencies are 1200 plus are the NGOs and indigenous people organizations. 18,000 plus experts work in 6 commissions, and 160 plus countries have got the branch office of IUCN. Now the 6 commissions, these are the commissions there. 6 commissions which work with in the IUCN, that is a Commission on Education and Communication, on Ecosystem Management, Environment and Sustainability Management, Species Survival Commission which prepares Red Data Book, World Commission on Environmental Law, and World Commission on Protected Areas. So this is what you have the commission on that. Commission on Environmental Economics and Social Policy, Species Survival Commission, World Commission on Environmental Law, World Commission on Protected Areas, right? These are the 6 commissions which work with under the IUCN. Now let's see here, you'll get to understand more, right? You will be able to understand more aspect of it with this documentary.
How much do you love nature? Do you remember your first walk in a forest? Your first swim in the ocean? The first time you saw a wild animal? We all love nature. We all depend on nature. More than 40% of the world's oxygen comes from rainforests. 50% of chemical medicines are based on nature. 100% of our food comes from nature. Are we taking this for granted? We need nature to sustain us. IUCN, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, is the world's largest global environmental network, created in 1948. Together, we're working in more than 160 countries for a just world that values and conserves nature. With over 1,000 staff, more than 1,200 member organizations, including governments and NGOs, and almost 11,000 volunteer scientists and experts. Together, we gather the latest knowledge on biodiversity, assessing the status of species, and protecting our natural wonders. We run hundreds of field projects around the world, such as managing water resources, restoring forests, protecting our coasts and oceans, and helping companies improve their environmental performance. We are nature's voice on the international stage, at the IUCN World Conservation Congress, at the United Nations General Assembly, at international environmental negotiations. By investing in solutions offered by nature, we can address today's global challenges. Together, we can stop the extinction of plants and animals, help fight climate change, restore natural resources, boost food security, and reduce poverty. When nature is healthy, our communities, economies, and countries prosper. Together, let's stand up for nature to create a better future for all of us.
Let us now learn about Red Data Book. Now I am coming to the Red Data Book. Have you all copied the whiteboard? I am now coming to the Red Data Book. There are 9 categories of Red Data Book where the threatened species are categorized. And I am now going to go into all the 9 categories, and then we'll see Red Data Book of India. I have already given you the handout. I'll go through the fact given in the hand out there. So, but before I go into that, the 9 categories of IUCN Red Data Book we will discuss in the classroom there, right? So threats, and now I have gone to the IUCN and I have shown you what is IUCN. You have seen the documentary about IUCN. Now I am coming to the Red Data Book of that, right? So 9 categories here. So let us now clean the whiteboard here. So if you see here the 9 categories, we can understand the 9 categories in the following way. So there are millions of species found in nature. In the nature, you have millions of species are found, right? Not all species have been discovered by scientists there. There are species in the nature which we have not discovered, but those which we have found out, those plants, algae, animals which we have found out, that the part of the nature's biodiversity part. So what happens in this context here is that all those species which have been discovered by scientists, right? All species there. Now what can be the two conditions here? Either they have been evaluated for risks or they have not been evaluated. So here the first thing what comes here, either it is evaluated or not evaluated. Let's say not evaluated. Evaluation has not been done. So they are placed into this category. The species are known to the scientists, but they have not been evaluated for risks. What type of risks are there? They have not been evaluated there. So that plays in that. Now let's say if evaluation is done, right? If evaluation has been done, now again two conditions will happen there. Either there will be sufficient data, or there will not be sufficient data to classify the species into risk categories. So there will be what? Data deficient, right? Either there will be sufficient data to support that which of the risk group that animal and plant can be put up there, or there will be insufficient data. So we can place in data deficient. That is the next category what comes. So now let's say if there are data is there, then there are following risk categories are there. That they are placed into the following risk categories. What I am now putting on the flow chart here. The first one is that extinct. The last member of that particular species has become extinct. Like you know the dinosaur. Dinosaurs have become extinct thousands of years, millions of years ago. But recent extinction over the last 100 years, 200 years, which are the species which have gone extinction. Let's say passenger pigeon. In Indonesia, passenger pigeon was there. Mauritius, Madagascar, there was a dodo bird and all this. So they are placed into extinction categories. Then there is another category called as a extinct in wild. They have become extinct in their natural habitat, but still some of the members are in captive breeding centers and all. They have become extinct in wild. What do you mean by extinct in wild? Not 100% extinction. Not 100% extinction. Still some of the species, their members are surviving, but they are into captive breeding centers and all, where scientists are trying to increase their number, right? Then comes here another category which you all are aware. You all are familiar with this category name, critically endangered. Critically endangered, right? What is critically endangered here means? That here 90%, here more than 90%, right? This one factor is more than 90% decline in their population in past 10 years or 3 generations of that species. Either in the 3 generations of that species or over the last 10 years, 1 decade, the numbers have declined by more than 90%. They are placed into critically endangered category. Like for example, gharial is critically endangered. We will discuss more examples of critically endangered species. Then what comes here? Endangered. Next category what comes here is called endangered category. Next category is the endangered. What is endangered? Where 70%, more than 70% 70 to 90% here decline, right? Decline in past 10 years, right? In past 10 years or 3 generations of the species. 70% to 90% loss have taken place. They are placed into endangered. Like for example, tiger. Indian tiger is endangered. Elephant. Asiatic elephant is endangered. These are the facts which you have to remember that. Then comes here vulnerable. Next category what comes here, that is called vulnerable. Now in vulnerable category, here the species has 50 to 70%. I am just writing here more than 50% decline, right, in past 10 years or 3 generations. So they are brought into the category of vulnerable. I'll just give you one example. One type of turtle in India, olive ridley turtle. Olive ridley turtle is a marine turtle, is a sea turtle which come in large number for mass nesting, known as aribada. Aribada, Spanish word for mass nesting. They come to the coastal site of Odisha, Gahir Matha. There is a place called Gahir Matha. Near Gopalpur on sea, there is a place called Gahir Matha. There this olive ridley turtle come for mass nesting. Olive ridley turtle is vulnerable, vulnerable. Kaziranga Manas in Assam is known for one-horned rhinoceros. Great one-horned rhinoceros. Great one-horned rhinoceros is vulnerable. You have to know all these facts. From current aspect, you have to know all these facts. So here vulnerable, the 50% decline. Then comes here near threatened. There is a category called as near threatened. That means earlier there was no threat, but now because of mining or in terms of habitat loss, right, now they are facing the threat, right, near threatened. So now it has come into the threat category. And the last one what called here, where long term there will be impact, that is called as a least concerned. Their category called as the least concerned. Least concerned category. After long time, they will be coming to the higher risk category. They will be coming to the higher risk category. Right? Now these 3 categories I am putting in the box here. These 3 categories here, critically endangered, endangered and this vulnerable. These 3 categories which are placed in the box here, they are called threatened categories. Whenever you come across this word threatened category here, which is a trademark word of IUCN, right, these are threatened categories. The species are here either critically endangered, right, either they will be critically endangered or vulnerable. What are placed in the box there, right? They are called threatened categories, either critically endangered, endangered or vulnerable. So the word threatened, whenever you come across the word threatened, is a particular term which is trademarked by the IUCN, and that is in context of Red Data Book, where it refers to 3 categories: critically endangered, endangered, vulnerable, right? Now which requires more conservation? Extinct in wild requires very high level of conservation. Critically endangered, endangered, vulnerable and near threatened. See, extinct species, they have already gone extinct. They have already become extinct. Where we need more conservation, where we require higher degree of protection: extinct in wild, because the only few members are surviving; critically endangered, endangered, vulnerable, and now the threat has started with near threatened. Near threatened, the threat has started. So these 5 categories, they are called conservation categories. They are referred to as conservation categories. Because extinct in wild requires highest level of conservation, highest level of protection, because only few of them are surviving. I'll give you example. African white rhino, Sudan, the name of male rhino. Only out of 3, the one was a male rhino. He departed. He died. Leaving behind 2 female. Only 2 female rhinos were left. African white rhino is almost to the brink of extinction. So they require highest degree of protection. Then comes critically endangered, vulnerable, and then near threatened. There was no threat earlier, but because of some human activities, now those species are facing threat. And if they are not conserved, so in coming years, they may become critically endangered, vulnerable there, or higher category group there. So this all 5 categories are called conservation categories. What I have ticked here, that is called as a conservation category. Extinct means what? They have already become extinct. I am talking which we require priority conservation. 5 of them. Extinct in wild, critically endangered, vulnerable, near threatened. Right? Now the risk are lower to the here, and risk is higher to the here. So if you look at risk here, the lowest risk is least concern, and higher goes to extinct in the wild. As we go from lower to the higher, the risks increases. These are 9 categories. These are 9 categories of IUCN Red Data Book. So you must be first knowing of what are the IUCN Red Data Book categories here. Right? These are the 9 categories of IUCN Red Data Book or Red Data list. Right? First you need to know the criteria. Right? This criteria on which they are categorized into the 9 categories. That is the first part. Then we will come to the fact. We will then be able to focus on the factual part. Then we will be able to focus on the factual aspect. Right? Where we will be able to focus on the factual aspect of that. We will be able to focus on the factual aspect. First to know which are those categories. Then we will see the facts. Whatever the facts are there, we will come to that part. Now Red Data Book is very important because this gives us a comprehensive information about that species, their habitat, what type of threats are there, and what are the conservation measures at the international level and at the national level. So this becomes a very, very important. Right? So please copy this. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Any doubt you have, you can ask me. I already told you in the classroom that whatever I am discussing in the classroom, that is you have to follow Vision IS study material. I am giving you class notes. I know that many of you are simply watching the class. Tell me how many of you are seriously writing down the whiteboard? You are having your gossip, right? You are gossiping among yourself that from where the material is there, where this, that, and how many of you are going to writing the part of? This is the comprehensive class notes I am giving on the whiteboard. What I am writing on the whiteboard is a kind of a class notes for all of you, so that before the exam you can revise it. You cannot revise 150 pages of the study material, right? Abhishek Tiwari, you do the counting very well. All those who are copying, they will get benefited in the examination. In the examination, you will get benefited there. Because in the exam, you need to revise the concept in a fast way. So you need to have a comprehensive class notes on that. Abhishek Tiwari, Mr. Tiwari, how the 9 categories are there? Let me do the counting here. Not evaluated, data deficient, extinct, extinct in wild, critically endangered, vulnerable, near, then you have here near threatened. How many are there? How many are there? तिवारी जी कितने कैटेगरीज हैं? 7 है या 9 है? हाँ? How many categories are there? Abhishek Tiwari is saying 7 categories. Where are the 2 categories? The other 2 categories are here. not evaluated in data deficient. ठीक है तिवारी जी समझ में आया 9 categories कैसे हुआ? Did you understand why how the 9 categories are there? Data deficient, not evaluated. They are also considered as a category. They are also considered as a category there. Right? Near threatened are those which have just, they are having the threat right now. Alright? Clear here? See, whatever I am writing on the whiteboard, if you are writing, see, I will not tell you again and again. If you are copying down whatever is there on the whiteboard, it will become a comprehensive revision notes for you before the exam. Let's say when you are going to appear in a competitive exam, whether UPSC civil service exam or any kind of exam, at least you will be able to revise the notes fast before you appear in the exam hall. Before the exam hall, you are not going to revise a bulky book, right? You are not going to revise 500 pages or 600 pages or any kind of bulky study material. You need a comprehensive kind of revision kind of material. So this will be helping us your quick revision kind of material there, along with the handouts, whatever I am providing there. Alright? So alright guys, now let's see. So there are 9 categories. Abhishek, I am very clear you are clear with this part. There are 9 categories are there. Let's understand more through this documentary.
The IUCN Red List is the world's most comprehensive information source on threatened species, their status and their links to livelihoods. More than a list, it's actually a barometer of life, measuring many of the threats faced by the species. From the IUCN Red List, we can find out whether a species is being overhunted, whether it's protected by international law, and whether it's important for human livelihoods. It will tell you if biological traits, such as slow reproductive rate, make a species susceptible to overharvesting, and whether restricted range makes it vulnerable to climate change. As a filmmaker and photographer specializing in threatened species and habitats, I consider the IUCN Red List to be an important resource for guiding my work. I have personally had the great pleasure of seeing and photographing many of the listed species on my various assignments. The IUCN Red List is an incredibly powerful tool used by many decision makers, including governments, NGOs, scientific institutions, and the private sector. For example, it is used to guide scientific research, inform policy and conservation planning, and improve decision making to protect the natural resources on which we all depend. More than 70,000 species have been assessed so far, and the results are disturbing, with many species groups facing a high risk of extinction. (41% of amphibians, 25% of mammals, 13% of birds, 33% of warm water reef building corals, 63% of cycads, and 34% of conifers are threatened. The IUCN Red List is compiled and managed by a network of more than 8,000 species experts from around the world. Each year more assessments are added, continually improving our knowledge of life on Earth. Our target is to assess a total of 160,000 species by the year 2020. Help us make the IUCN Red List a more complete barometer of life. Help us save threatened species around the world. We cannot do this without your support. please join us. Visit IUCN.
Okay, there are certain questions are there. Let me explain certain questions there. Right, there are certain questions by student there. First question, Pranav has asked. Pranav has asked that how IUCN is an intergovernmental organization. So my dear Pranav, I have already told you when I was writing on the whiteboard that why IUCN is intergovernmental. Intergovernmental organization is that organization which is formed by governments, and governments are complete members of that organization. For example, UNESCO, UNEP, United Nations Environment Programme, WHO, these are called intergovernmental. On the other hand, IUCN is an international organization which is made in partnership of both government and non-government. There are 1200 plus non-government organizations and indigenous people's representative societies which participate with IUCN. That's why IUCN will not be called as intergovernmental. I have already explained, I have shown you some documentaries, but still you have a doubt in your mind. So Mr. Pranav, for your understanding, IUCN is not intergovernmental because it has a membership of both governments and non-governments organization, in a very simple language. Right? Somebody in the been asking a question that how often a red data book is published? Twice a year. It is updated every 2 years. Red data book is updated every 2 years. हर एक 2 साल में उसका अपडेशन होता है IUCN red data book का. Clear? So those who have this query in the mind, how often this updation of red data book takes place? So every 2 years. Now in India, Indian red data book is updated with the help of ZSI. I am giving very important information. Please note it down. In India, red data book is updated with the support of Geological Society of India, ZSI. We have autonomous scientific organizations working under MOEFCC, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And for animals, we have a body called ZSI, Zoological Survey of India. So Zoological Survey of India helps in updation of red data book of India. All right, clear here? So I have already given you a list of that. Now what I'll do here, I will now in the classroom, right, we'll just go into another part. Like we will be covering about 2 topics. I'm going to discuss 2 more topics in the classroom. One is the biodiversity measurement. How do we measure the biodiversity of a given geographical area or an ecosystem or a habitat? Second, we'll learn about conservation of biodiversity, in situ conservation, ex situ conservation. So we are also going to cover 2 topics in the classroom, biodiversity measurement and biodiversity conservation. We will be covering in the classroom, right? Up to here it is clear here, all what I have explained here. We'll see the examples. Near threatened, like this giraffe, African giraffe has now been categorized as a near threatened. African giraffe was earlier as a least concerned, but has become a near threatened. All what you read in current affairs, all what you read in newspaper or current affairs, whenever you come across some species, then you must try to know which category it comes into that, and which of these are linked with Indian aspect of it. You have to connect those kind of facts, and there will be direct question. How the question will be direct. We'll see that one, right? We'll see after a short break. We'll take a small break here. After a small break, we'll see that connectivity part of it, right? I hope you all are able to understand whatever topics I am covering in the classroom, and I am going in a sequence. I am following a particular type of sequence, and detailed explanation you will find in Vision IAS study material. You have been given 3 parts, part 1, part 2, part 3. So please go back and refer to the Vision IAS study material. Whatever I am covering in the classroom, you will find the detailed aspect of that. Clear here? So we'll take a small break here, and then after the break we'll continue with the Indian red data book. We'll come to the Indian red data book, biodiversity measurement and biodiversity conservation. All right there. Any more doubt you have, please ask me. If you have any doubt, please ask me. so that we can take a break, and then after break we'll continue with our next topics there. Any doubt you have? All right, so we'll take a small break and then we'll come back then. Hello everyone, we'll continue with the topic one by one. Now what I would like to bring here, see in UPSC prelims exam, you'll find that in the prelims examination, question is asked on threatened species. You'll find every year that at least one question will be on threatened species. So you have a question on threatened species of India. Right? At least you have one question here. Now what you have to remember, when we are going to the facts, now what you need to know, understand from here is that the questions will be on the aspect of here. One is that you should know category. Which category of the IUCN, critically endangered or vulnerable, that particular species is there, right? Then again you should know the biological aspect of it. You should know the biological aspect. So whether that particular species is a mammal, is it a mammal, right, or a bird, right, reptile, right, etc. there. Even sometime ecological aspect. There can be ecological aspect which is linked with the species here. So like when we say ecological aspect, like for example, is it a herbivore, right, or is it a carnivore, or it is a omnivore? Even such kind of terms are being used in the exam, right? What type of nature of the species is there? Then comes here habitat. What type of habitat it is found there, right? Like for example, is it a forest, right? What type of vegetation? Is it a grassland, right? Is it a lake or wetland where that particular species is being found, right? Is it a sea and ocean, right? So you should know the habitat. So what type of habitat that particular species is found. Then comes here conservation status, right? You have to know about conservation status, right? Conservation status of that. Like what is the conservation status of that species in India? So under Wildlife Protection Act, right, we will be covering that one. Like for example, Wildlife Protection Act. In Wildlife Protection Act 1972, right, there are 6 schedules are there. Schedule 1 to 5, right? Schedule 1 to 5 are on wild animals. And these are those which come to any of the category of the red data book. Schedule 6 is on plants. This is on the wild plants. Right? So sometimes in the question paper you will find one of the statement will be legal status. What is the legal status of that particular species? Like I'll give you example. There was a question asked in the pre-exam about dugong dugong. Dugong dugong is called sea cow. So first statement was that it is a marine herbivore mammal. Marine, sea and ocean, herbivore, which feed on the grasses and seagrass bed, and mammal. What is a mammal? Which give birth to young ones and take care of the young ones, feed them. They are called mammals. That statement is correct. Second statement of geography, that it is found throughout the coastal areas of India. That is wrong. Dugong dugong or sea cow is found in Andaman Nicobar Islands. You will find in Gujarat, Gulf of Kutch. You will find in Gulf of Mannar, Palk Strait, Tamil Nadu, India and Sri Lanka, that part, Gulf of Mannar. So not throughout the Indian coast. And third was that it has been protected under the Wildlife Protection Act. That is correct. So answer is there 1 and 3. I'm just giving example. I'm just giving the example. So you should know that what are the threats here, right? Conservation status and threats. You have to know the threats also there. Okay, what type of threats are there? Like for example, UPSC had asked question about Gangetic dolphin, river Ganga dolphin. What are the threats to river Gangetic dolphin? That was asked in the UPSC exam. There was a question asked in the exam that sandy and saline area is the habitat of an animal which has no predators. So that is the Indian wild ash. Indian wild ash is found in run of Kutch in Gujarat. So it can be any kind of mixed type of question. So what you have to know when you are solving that. So when you take conservation status, you should know which part of it. Again, you have to know here what, like what type of national park. If you talk about conservation status, then which type of national park, right? Or is there any wildlife sanctuary, or is there a bird sanctuary, or is there biosphere reserve, where that particular bird or mammal or a reptile or that particular animal or plant is found in India. Has Government of India created national park? Has there been a wildlife sanctuary? So you have to connect all these areas, and you will get direct question in the exam. In UPSC exam, the question will be directly asked in the exam. All right. So we will see that exercise. Now we will take some examples. We'll take few examples, and we'll have a KBC. Kaun banega civil servant? Based on this idea, what I've given based on the idea, we'll be getting that one, right? Is it clear here? So we'll have some sample exercise here in the classroom here. Is it clear here, everybody? So what do you have to know from a threatened species there? There is this somebody is asking question that grassland, sea grass, Muskan Jaiswal, sea grass bed where dugong is found, right? Let's look at the example here. I am now coming to the example part of it. So in the appendix I have given here, so you can refer to this Vision IS material which I have uploaded in today's class. Today I have uploaded here. Now there you have this. So let us now go into that. Right? Critically endangered species of India. We will now see the part of it. Now what do you find here? Now if you see here, like here birds. First is given here about bird. Right here you have a critically endangered bird of India. Right? So critically endangered birds of India. So what do you have here? Species there. The first part is a bird here. Now you have to also connect with the current aspect. You have to connect with the, relate to the current aspect there. If in current affairs you have come across areas to this kind of birds there, right? And again this is important. Jordan cursor is important, right? See what is given here. If you see here very clearly, I'll just zoom out here. What do you find here? Nocturnal bird. They are active in the night time. They were declared extinct. They were considered to be extinct, but then it was rediscovered. In 1986 it was rediscovered. And there is a wildlife sanctuary where it is found in Andhra Pradesh, that is called as a Sri Lankamaleswara Wildlife Sanctuary. What type of habitat is there? Undisturbed scrub jungle with open areas. Earlier also found in Maharashtra, but again because of clearing of the part of the forest and this part, there is the numbers have declined there. So here you will see here northern part of Andhra Pradesh, and earlier also in Maharashtra. And again given threats like clearing of scrub jungle, creation of new pasture, dry land crop, exotic trees like invasive species, quarrying, sandstone quarrying, Telugu Ganga canal, illegal trapping of birds, right? So it can be a question there. It can be found in the question. Let's say for example, I'll just give you an idea. Let's say I'm just asking a question here. The direct question can be like this. Let's say which of following, let's say if a question comes here, which of following birds are critically endangered? And let's say I am giving the option here, Jordan cursor, there is a direct question there, right? Forest owlet, and let's say here spoon-billed sandpiper. this kind of direct question you will get in the exam. Let's say I am just giving a question here. Which of following birds is a critically endangered? Jadon cursor, forest owlet, spoon-billed sandpiper. And your options are here. 1 only, 1 and 2 only, 1 and 3 only, and then 1, 2 and 3. This is the one type of question. I am just giving you an idea. This is just a one type of question. This is one type of question you have here, right? So Jadon cursor is critically endangered. Forest owlet is also critically endangered, and spoon-billed sandpiper is also there. Is a migratory bird. Sandpiper is a migratory bird. So here the answer is D. D for Delhi, right? This is one type of question which you could expect in the exam. This is the way UPSC can ask question there, right? I'm just giving you type of some example there so that you are able to understand there. And you can see here, forest owlet. The next one is a forest owlet, right? So forest owlet is critically endangered, dry deciduous forest. South MP, the northwest Maharashtra and north central Maharashtra. And threat has been given logging operation, burning, cutting of trees and roosting nesting site. Another one is white-bellied heron. White-bellied heron is found in the only few areas. Only 5 to 6 sites in Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, right? And I'll give you one area, Namdhapa. Namdhapa is a very famous place in Arunachal Pradesh. That is a national park and tiger reserve, right? There this nesting ground of Jadon cursor has been found. In Namdhapa is Arunachal Pradesh. I'll just give you an idea here. White-bellied heron, what you see here, this particular bird which you see here, right? The belly is white in color. It has been found in Namdhapa. There is a nesting site has been found in Namdhapa, Arunachal Pradesh. There. Let's say here, I'll just give you an idea here. Let's say, for example, if you just go to the Namdhapa, right? Let's say, for example, I'm just give an idea here. Let's say, for example, here, white-bellied heron. See, whenever you are reading any current aspect, right? Whenever you are reading any current aspect, right? You just try to have a Google search and try to learn more into that. Right here, Namdhapa here. And like you see here, first ever survey of white-bellied herons, right, spells doom for these birds. 28th September 2020. See, first of all, see the date. What is the date of the article? Right, last year 28th September this article came. And then I have written here Namdhapa area tiger reserve, that is in Arunachal Pradesh. Right, now you can see here, this is the, I'm getting open to the, now see here, this is one. First ever survey of white-bellied herons spells doom for these birds. This article was written by Ashwita Anand, right, and you can see the bird here. This beautiful bird which you can see here. Only found in Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. Right, it's endemic to that area. And you can see here, this is given here. This white-bellied heron, Ardea insignis, world's second largest heron. Right? Magnificent bird is found in the parts of northeast India, Bhutan and northwest Myanmar and China. And you can see here critically endangered. Right? And then here survey was carried out. Survey was carried out, Bird Conservation International and the Nature Conservation. They have carried out a survey here. And they have found river and sandy and rocky gravel and all this part. They have found the Namdhapa, you can see here. Among the surveyed site, the researchers spotted the white-bellied herons on 6 occasions, all inside Namdhapa tiger reserves. Can you see here? There is another wildlife sanctuary given, Dering, D-E-R-I-N-G, wildlife sanctuary on the Assam-Arunachal Pradesh border. Now such kind of current aspect, you have to connect with it, right? You have to connect with the part of it, what I have just mentioned about, right? So this is where you have the white-bellied heron. Then we have discussed about vultures. There are 9 species of vultures in India, right? You can refer to the handout. There are 9 species of vultures, right? And this one, I'm sorry, the 9 species of vultures and this particular one, right? Which one are there? Like here, 3 species: white-backed vulture, Gyps bengalensis, slender-billed vulture, Gyps tenerostrus, long-billed vulture, have declined by 99%. We have already covered in the classroom, right? And you know that the major cause is that painkiller, that is a diclofenac, biomagnification part, right? That's part of it. So that's where you have the, and this is the white-backed vulture. What you see, the white-backed vulture, and there's already the conservation program going on. Now coming to this one, Bengal florican. Where do you find? Grassland, right? Bengal florican. Bengal florican does not mean Bengal, West Bengal. So you should not get carried away by the name Bengal, right? You should not get carried away by the word Bengal here. Many students will think that Bengal means here West Bengal and Bangladesh and all this area there. This is found in is a bustard species. What comes here is a rare bustard species. Bustard species are those which resemble like ostrich. They look like, they are not as big as ostrich, but they have resemblance of that, and known for its mating dance, right? And they are found in grasslands and with some intermediate scrublands, and only 3 countries in the world. They are found only 3 countries: Cambodia, India and Nepal, and only 3 states in India: Uttar Pradesh, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. Where you find Uttar Pradesh? That is Tarai region, India and Nepal, right? In Indo-Nepal, the Tarai region there. There in Indo-Nepal, there is one place called Dudhwa Tiger Reserve. There you will find this Bengal florican, and Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. So you please don't get carried away by the word Bengal. Assam, Uttar Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. And because of the, again you see here, conversion of this grassland habitat, ongoing conversion of the grassland habitat for agriculture purpose has threatened the bird, right? Then again you can see here another one, Himalayan quail, right? Quail, Himalayan quail. Last time it was sighted in Nainital, right? Last time it was sighted in the Nainital here, and it is a hillside here, steep hillside. Habitat you have to be aware, right? South facing slopes between the altitude of 16502 to 2400 meters. And what is very important, Himalayan quail is native to India, is found in India, and only in, see here, found only, the word is only, found only in the mountains of Uttarakhand, in the northwest Himalayas, right? Then you can see here pink-headed duck, right? I am zooming out photograph so that you are able to see clearly the species. With the photograph you will be able to understand the pink-headed duck. Now pink-headed duck, lowland, ponds, swamps, marshes with dense vegetation, and eastern India, Bangladesh and Myanmar. That is the habitat, right? Then you can see sociable lapwing, another critically endangered bird, right? So here the medium size, longest black legs, you can see here, they have got long black leg, longish black leg is there, right? They have a stacking pattern on the head, right? Longish black head, short black bill, stacking pattern on the head, right? Black crown, right? Eye strip is there, right? These are the biological aspect of that, right? And they breed on the open grassland. So Russia and Kazakhstan, and they migrate to south to northwest India. Is a migratory bird. Is a migratory bird. Right? Is a migratory bird. Then again you can see bear pochard or pochard. Many of the wetlands, this is like a duck, you will find that. And this species inhabit water bodies, right? Like particular wetlands there, fresh water bodies, river, fresh lakes, reservoirs, and coastal habitats surrounded by thick vegetation. And again they breed in Russia and northwestern China, and they for wintering, they move southward for wintering to China, India, Bangladesh and all this. So again this is a migratory bird. You have to know all these facts, right? You have to know all these facts there. Then habitat loss, hunting and all this are the threats, right? You have to know all the facts there. And you can see a spoon-billed sandpiper. And you can see here the beak of this bird is spoon-billed. You will see here this is spoon-billed. Again it is a migratory bird. It is again a migratory bird. So it is a migratory bird. It comes from breeding season. Like the tundra. Where is tundra? Arctic. Tundra is the Arctic. This is a Arctic part of it. And in the winter they migrate. In the winter they migrate. They migrate and come to the part of it. They breed in this peninsula in Russia, Chukotsky Peninsula, and Kamchatka Peninsula is in North Korea and South Korea, that area. And they migrate in Bangladesh, Myanmar and Thailand, and then Vietnam, India, China, Singapore and Philippines. So it is also a migratory bird. Right? Then you know the Siberian crane. From Siberia to India, Siberian crane. Right? And you know that a place, Kevladev. Kevladev, that is a Bharatpur district in Rajasthan. Kevladev Ghana National Park or Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, which is known for Siberian crane, coming from Russia. Right? And you can see here the shallow wetland, again come from tundra and the plains there. That is again from the part of Siberia part of it. Right? They come from the Siberia. I'm sorry. They are coming from Siberia part of it. Right? Siberia, that is a part of Russia. And you can see here what is Siberia, eastern Siberia to China. They have eastern group which goes to that side, central group go to the western Siberia to India. So it is a central group which come to India. And there is another group called western group which migrate to Russia to Iran. And again this one, Kevladev Ghana National Park. Right? Last time it has been cited there, but now it has declined coming to part of it. Right? Now let's look at here this one, mammals. Now comes here mammals, like here pygmy hog is the smallest pig of the world. And is only native to India. You will only find in India only, and that only in Assam. In Assam it is found there. Right? It is the world's smallest pig. You will find here the world's smallest pig, wild pig. And captive breeding program is in Assam. There is a place called Sunai Rupai in Assam. 2009 it was there, and they preferred the Tarai grassland. Right, it is an indicator species of management status. And they are found to live with rhinoceros, swamp deer, wild buffalo, hispid hare. They share the company, Bengal Florican and all this. And Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, there you will find the population of this pygmy hog. Right, and again the threats are there, degradation of habitat, dry season and all this one, grassland part of it. Now another very important, Namdhapa flying squirrel is a flying squirrel. Namdhapa in Arunachal Pradesh. Right? And you have this one. This is the arboreal found in the trees. Arboreal means tree and trees. And active in the evening time. They are active in the evening time there. Right? They are active in the evening time. And Namdhapa National Park in Arunachal Pradesh. Right? Largest protected area in the eastern Himalayan biodiversity hotspot. We'll learn what is hotspot. I'll be teaching you hotspot there. All this kind of factual information you have to go through there. Malabar civet, Malabar, Kerala, part of Kerala and the Malabar region, is a nocturnal. You can see it is a nocturnal animal. They are active in the night time. The nocturnal. Now, see, it was considered to be extinct, but again, they dog-like carnivores, but again, they are found to be critically endangered. And where you find Western Ghats, Malabar civet, right? It was declared extinct in 1978, but again rediscovered, right? And because the species, they are only largely confined to thickets in cashew nut plantation. Where they have a cashew nut plantation, Malabar region, there you find that. Apart from that, you have other mammals like Andaman white-toothed shrew, Jenkins Andaman. They're found in Andaman Islands, Nicobar white-toothed shrew, and all this, Elvira rat, and all this. Then again, reptiles and amphibians. What do you find here? Ghadial. What is so unique about ghadial? This snout. They have long snout. It's a basically fish eating, right? Found in the river Ganges, and fish eating crocodile there, right? Now it has become extinct in the neighboring countries, but you will find this ghadial, right, is found in the part of river Ganges and tributaries there. So it is a river dwelling fish eater, clean river with sandbanks. They prefer that. And you know the Chambal, National Chambal Sanctuary, right? Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, Chambal. Now what is this small non-breeding population where they are not breeding, but they exist in Son, Gandak, Hooghly, Ghagra rivers, and now it is declared extinct in Myanmar, Pakistan, Bhutan and Bangladesh. What are threats there? Dams, barrage, embankment, pollution, agriculture, then again sand mining. All these are led to declining population of ghadial. Non-breeding means they are not increasing in terms of captive breeding program is not there. Then naturally they are found to be surviving there. Now about marine turtles. This is a marine turtle, right? Is the largest turtle, what is called leatherback turtle. Is the biggest marine turtle of the world, right? But you see the photograph here. So they are 900 kilogram. It weighs like 900 kilogram, and they are excellent swimmers. And 45 to 65 kilometer a day on an average they can swim. They eat jellyfish as a primary prey. In 1 year they travel 15,000 kilometers per year on the sea and ocean, right? And they are the top predators of marine environment. And tropical and subtropical ocean they are found. In India you will find this Great Nicobar, in Nicobar Island. There are nesting site of this leatherback turtle, right? Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, everywhere you find that. And what are the threats here? The threats are that you have fishing operation, harvesting of eggs, sometimes people eat the egg, destruction of nests by other species there, cats, dogs and pigs, artificial lighting, let's see here, artificial lighting, that affect the hatchlings of the adult and causes them to migrate. Even plantation of invasive species, exotic plants, they can also affect the part of the habitat of the leatherback turtle, construction, mining and all this one. All these facts you have to remember. Now freshwater turtle, here this is the freshwater. See, turtle can be both marine and freshwater. Is a freshwater turtle, four-toed river terrapin. Is a turtle species and is found in river Ganga and Brahmaputra and all this. And you can see the river terrapin is a critically endangered turtle. Omnivorous, what is called here? Omnivorous. They eat both vegetarian and non-vegetarian, right? And they clean up the river system, efficient cleaner. So here you find Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Indonesia, Malaysia. And why they are hunted? They are hunted for medicinal purpose. The flesh are used for medicinal purpose. Demand for eggs, which are considered to be delicacy, right? Then you can see another freshwater turtle. Again, this is freshwater. So turtle can be both freshwater and marine. Red crown root turtle. Now see here, red crown root turtle or called Bengal root turtle, right? You will find here the head of this curve. Here you have a red crown, and this looks like a roof. It resembles like a roof of a house. That is called red crown root turtle, right? It's called as a red crown root turtle. And see here what is given here. They are found freshwater turtle endemic to South Asia. And again, which all countries? Nepal, Northeast India, Bangladesh and probably in Myanmar. Again, they are harvested for meat and shell, drowned in fishing nets, water pollution, hydroelectric program, like a hydropower project, habitat loss. Then amphibians, you have all this critically endangered name there, frogs and all this. They are not very important, but again, toad. In India, we have a toad called tiger toad. Now again, Annamalai, flying frog, Gundian Indian frog, Kerala Indian frog, all these are there. Then fish variety, large tooth sawfish. They look like this one. They are called sawfish, right? It is again found here. See here, they are found in the sea and ocean. Yes, sea and ocean, right? Warm waters, they are found there. And long rostrums, they have effective tool for hunting and defense. They get, so this what is called rostrum. This is called as a rostrum. For defense, they use this for defense and preying upon that. Then you can see Wayanad. Where is Wayanad? Wayanad is in Kerala. Mahseer variety, right? Is basically a kind of endemic fish, only found in that southern region of the Western Ghats. And upland stream, there is found there. Then shark, you can see here, Pondicherry shark or Puducherry shark, that is found in the ocean there. What do you find here? Pondicherry shark is a shark found in the Eastern Indian Ocean, that is from India to New Guinea. Little is known for about its breeding site there, right? So here it is there in your Vision IS material. Plus you have to also go through the current affairs. Nocturnal means they are active in the night time. Nocturnal here means they are active during the night time, right? They are active in the night time there. You should always remember that. See, what I want to make you understand is that whenever you are going through any species, what I have mentioned in the handout here, on the whiteboard here, this whiteboard what I mentioned here. Whenever you are reading current affair material, when you read newspaper, the Hindu newspaper, or any kind of a study material, you must ask this question. And it is a very factual. You have to learn from fact based, completely factual information. Let's take few examples more. What I'll do here, let's say few example here. You'll be able to understand with more example here. Whatever. So this is just that's what I have given you handout. I have given you handout so that you are able to understand from handout point of view. Let's say you have a question here. Let's say question is there. Which of following are, let's say, migratory birds in India? See, a question setter can ask you question from any angle. It can be asked in any way. Right, UPSC can ask you question anyway. Let's say if I am giving you option here, spoon-billed sandpiper, right, Siberian crane, a direct question will be there. Whenever you get the question, it will be direct question here, right? You will get a direct question here. Then again here, let's say here, black-necked crane. Something you will be aware, something you are not aware. So please don't take a guesswork. If you are not aware of all this, you should not take guesswork. And let's say you have given the question here, one only, right? Let's say 1 and 2 only, right? And let's say 2 and 3 only. Such kind of question either you are aware of or you are not aware of. You cannot make a guesswork. You cannot make a guesswork. I am just giving you some sample questions to make you understand what is the way UPSC can ask question there. What will be answer here? Something you will be aware. See, if you talk about Red Data Book of India, there are so many names are there. Hundreds of names are there. It is not possible for everyone to remember it. It's again your luck. If you know something, you have read about it and you are able to solve, you have to solve it. But if you're not aware of it, you're not sure about it, don't make a guesswork in the exam hall, because there is 1/3 negative marking. You'll end up with wrong answer, right? So what will be answer here? Let's the question comes here. The answer is here D. The correct answer is D. D for Delhi. That's what I said. Don't make a guesswork. I'm again telling you repeatedly that in the exam hall, please don't do any kind of guesswork. If you are able to eliminate from the options A, B, C, D, then well and good. Otherwise, if the options are tricky, please don't take guesswork. The answer is this one. Black net crane here. Black net crane. You will find in China, Bhutan, and India. In India, black net crane is found in the Kashmir and Ladakh. Black net crane is a migratory bird found in the Tibetan plateau of Tibet, Tibetan plateau. This particular bird is found, and it migrates from Bhutan, China, and India. Current affairs very important, right? So the answer here is D. I am again telling you again, if you are not thorough with the information, if you don't know the facts, your guesswork will end up with wrong answer. You have to be careful. I'm just giving you idea here. This is the way the question can be asked, right? This is the way the question can be asked. The answer is D, 1, 2 and 3. All these are migratory birds. Now let's look at here. I'll give you another question here. I'm just cleaning the whiteboard, just making you aware there. Let's say you get another type of question here. Let's say if you get a question like this one, I'm giving another question. Which of threatened species of India found in swampy grassland? Now I am linking here geography. I am linking here with geography. I am linking with the geographical aspect. And now I am giving the option here. Great one-horned rhinoceros, number 2, Bengal florican, right? Number 3, Siberian crane, right? And 4th, let's say, white-bellied heron. And number 5, let's say, pygmy hog. This is the way, see, UPSC question setter can ask you in any manner. It can be any type. There can be hundreds of ways to set a question. I can set on critically endangered or threatened species, different ways I can ask you question. UPSC can set question different manner, right? Let's say I have given 5 choice here, right? And I am giving the option here. I am giving the option here, 2 and 5, 1, 2 and 5, right? 1, 2, 3 and 5, and the last option here, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. What will be answer here? Either you know or you don't know. या तो आपको आता है या तो नहीं आता है. ऐसे क्वेश्चन में कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Now let's look at this question here. I have given the choice here. Which of the threatened species of India found in swampy grassland? Great one-horned rhinoceros, Bengal florican, Siberian crane, white-bellied heron, pygmy hog. So what will be answer here? Let me see how many of you are there. See, you can make a guesswork here. You can make a guesswork here, but not in the exam hall. Exam hall you cannot make a guesswork. That's why I'm again Why I am writing question on the whiteboard? Just to make you aware when a question will be asked. Either you are sure about it or you are not sure about it. And I have given here swampy grassland. Here my point is there, swamp and grassland. Swampy grassland here. And every year you will get factual question. You will be getting factual question. Say great horn rhinoceros, right? Kaziranga, right? For example, Kaziranga. Kaziranga is on the southern bank of river Brahmaputra. Is also tiger reserve and also national park. Is a swampy grassland. So one-horn rhinoceros prefers to live in swampy grassland because rhinoceros is a herbivore. One-horn rhinoceros is a herbivore. Bengal florican again, right? Bengal florican. They prefer the grassland and all this. Siberian crane which comes to the where? It comes to the Kevla Dev. Kevla Dev is in Bharatpur district of Rajasthan, is a wetland. Is a type of wetland, right? Is a type of wetland there. Then again white-bellied heron. Does it found in the swampy grassland? This is not there. White-bellied heron is not there, right? White-bellied heron you will not find here. Now Bengal florican again, right? Bengal florican again you will find in the Kaziranga and all this one. Like let's see here. I'll just show you here. Let's see here this one. Pygmy hog. Now see, pygmy hog, they found reside in a crucial for survival of other endangered species. Indian rhinoceros, swamp deer, right? Bengal florican. Can you see here? Bengal florican. Rhinoceros, where the rhinoceros, swamp deer, wild buffalo, hispid hare, Bengal florican and all this. And again you can see here, Bengal florican. Bengal florican, if you see here this one, right? Grassland sometimes there, you will find the Tarai region. Now see here, I mentioned Tarai region, Lakhimpur Kheri, Dudhwa National Park, right? Dudhwa National Park there, India and Nepal you will find that, right? Siberian crane again you will find in the wetland area there, but a white-bellied heron. Let's look at here this one. White-bellied heron. What type of sites are there? See here, lowland forest and wetlands, right? And again the direct exposure disturbance. Now you can see here, I have already opened this one. Where do you find the white-bellied heron here? There is a research article which is said here. And you can see here they prefer the gravel there. See here, where do you find white-bellied heron? River bank which is rocky or sandy. Not the grassland, not river bank which is rocky and sandy here. Right? So either you are aware or you are not aware. Right? That's what the white-bellied heron will not be there. Pygmy hog will be there. Pygmy hog will be there. So answer is C. Here answer is C. Pygmy hog is found in that area like in Kaziranga, Manas, where you find rhinoceros. And the habitat of rhinoceros is a swampy grassland. Right? So again the answer is 1, 2, 3. One great one-horned rhino, swampy area. Right? Bengal florican also live in that kind of area. Siberian crane in the Kilo Dev, again you have a swamp and the grassland area there, marshy land there. White-bellied heron, gravel, river bank with gravel and rocks. In Namdhapa, that's area where you have the part of the white-bellied heron. Siberian crane, Kilo Dev, I have said. Pygmy hog live in the company of Bengal florican and rhinoceros in Assam, Manas and Kaziranga. So the answer is 1, 2, 3 and 5. I am just giving you झटका, बिजली का झटका. और एग्जाम हॉल में ना यूपीएससी एग्जाम, राइट, you read hundreds of current affair material. If you're not following the government reports and government aspect of this, you're gone. UPSC is not going to ask you from any popular current affair material, which you guys are, reading and all this one. The way the UPSC question setter, they are experts. They are experts. They will set question a different way. Right? So here, so answer is 1, 2, 3 and 5. Any doubt you have, any question you want to ask. If you have any question, you can ask me there. Let me see here if you have any question here. Giridhar Ramrao Chauhan, you are asking that how there is a swamp, grassland there. Swampy there. It is also a swampy area. Daldal. Swamp in Daldal. Okay. To satisfy Giridhar Ramrao Chauhan, right, you should always remember that when a question comes in the exam, it's a wetland. I have been mentioning here. Like here, Keoladev. Let's say, I'll take you to this. I'm just giving you an approach. Why I'm taking so much time in your batch? I could have just simply rushed through, but I have not done that. Why I'm taking this one? Because so that you are able to know about this one. Let's see here. Now look at here, this one. Right? Is a World Heritage Site. 1985 in UNESCO it was inscribed as a World Heritage Site in Rajasthan, and it is a hunting ground of Maharajas there, right? Personal hunting ground there. And Keoladev, you can look at here. What is mentioned here is a bird sanctuary, declared a bird sanctuary here, and is a Ramsar site of India, wetland of international importance, right? And for coming for Siberian crane, it is part of it, and you can see here, right? Famous for migrant birds, right? And is the wetland of part of it, right? During the monsoon, it gets flooded with water. What happens during the monsoon? It gets flooded with water, right? It gets flooded with water and then becomes a kind of, and you can see the birds which are found there, right? These are the birds which are found in that kind of habitat. And you can see here the crane, Siberian crane. Right? So you can see here wetland ecosystem, right? Wetland ecosystem, submerged and emergent plants are there, and you can see here swamps. Giridhar Ramrao Chauhan, is it clear to you? Is it clear to you? You can see grass and all this part. I am asking Giridhar Ramrao Chauhan. Giridhar Ramrao Chauhan, is it clear to you how comes the Keoladev is swampy area? Because in the rainy season when water comes there, it gets flooded there, right? So that's what it becomes very, very important here. It becomes very, very important part which you have to understand there. Is it clear here? Swamps, swampy area, this wetland system where the water and all this comes into that. And you have grassland there, dry area. Then let's see here. The park is a freshwater swamp. The park is a freshwater swamp. And you find all this kind of flora and all these birds are found. Right? So to solve one question, you need a lot of information. To solve one question, you require lots of information. You require at the background, at the back of your mind, so much of information. If you don't have the information of each of the species, you will not be able to solve question of this type. I can give you hundreds of questions. I can set hundreds of questions. Right? I'm just trying to make you aware. Let's look at last question here. I'm just coming to the last part of the question here. Right? Let's say, for example, if question is asked like this one. If let's say we get a question that which of following species is described below. This is another way question can be asked. Right? Now I'm writing here. It is a omnivorous and come for nesting to coastal areas, right? To coastal areas. Then in the same paragraph I am writing here, it is omnivorous and come for nesting to coastal areas. It is able to travel long distances, right, and is heavier in size, weighing. I can give you any type question up to 900 kilograms, right? It has been cited in Nicobar Islands. I can give you any type of such question there. Let's say you have a description of this time, and now I am giving the option here: olive ridley turtle, leatherback turtle, Bengal turtle, and let's say Irrawaddy dolphin. So what will be answer here? What will be answer here? This is another way question can be asked. Something will be described about that species, and then you will be asked to select which one is that. If you know the information, you can solve that. What will be answer here? What will be answer in this case? What are the keyword here? Omnivorous. First keyword is omnivorous. Then nesting to coastal areas, and I have given here Nicobar Island. 900 kilograms the size is there, heaviest, and able to travel long distance. So that is a leatherback turtle. Olive ridley turtle also travel long distance in the ocean, but the size 900 kilogram size, that is a leatherback turtle, marine turtle, leatherback turtle, right? Another hint is Great Nicobar. Olive ridley turtle comes to the, where do you find olive ridley turtles? Odisha, right? Irrawaddy dolphin from Myanmar, Irrawaddy Delta to where it comes, Chilika Lagoon. Where do you find Irrawaddy dolphin? Irrawaddy dolphin comes to Chilika Lagoon. Irrawaddy dolphin you will find in Chilika. This is found in Chilika. Chilika in the part of part of the Odisha. That is Bay of Bengal, right? So Bengal turtle is a fresh water. Olive ridley turtle you will find in Odisha. This comes in Gahir Matha. There is a place called as Gahir Matha in Odisha there. So the correct answer is leatherback turtle. Clear here? Is it clear here? So you have to follow the current affairs. Whatever current affairs are there, you have to go through the current affairs. I hope that it is making sense to everyone. You all are able to understand the type of question which can be asked in the UPSC exam and can be asked anywhere, any type of question there. I am setting questions, I am just giving you a kind of idea about that species part. And there is not a one, there are so many species are there. Government report, you have to go to the Government of India report. Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change. Go to the Government of India report, you will find all the information. Right? You will find all the information there. If you go to the government report, you will find all this information. Right? You will be getting all such information, government reports. Alright? So now what I am coming here, I will clean the whiteboard here. What I have written here, I am going to clean the whiteboard. Now let us understand here. So in the government report, when you follow government reports from Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, you'll get to understand more such example there. And the newspaper, the Hindu. When you read the Hindu paper, you'll come across species, birds and mammals, reptiles, all species will be there. Right? So see, if I have to take all the reports and if I have to cover all the species, I will take 10 class for your 13 species only. So that is not possible in the current class, right? I can only make you aware. I can only help you out that how you are going to take care of this kind of factual information. So I cannot do the spoon feeding to you, that I can take so many reports and tell you, oh, this. That cannot be done, right? So you have to also work hard. You have to also do it by yourself, right? You have to also do it by yourself. All right. Now what I'm coming here, what I would like to bring here from the discussion point of view, let's come to one aspect of that. There's another topic here. Let me cover this topic then. So the topic what is called as the biodiversity mapping. Right? Class is not over. Class is not over. Biodiversity mapping in terms of measurement of biodiversity. How do you do the measurement of biodiversity in a given habitat, in a geographical area? So now let me come across here. There are two aspects are there. Please write this one. Please write this one. The two aspects are there. One is that there is something called species richness. What is species richness? That is the number of species, number of different types of species number of different types of species found in a habitat. How many types of species you come across in a habitat? That is called as a richness. And second called here species evenness. Second concept here comes here, parameters, a species evenness. What is species evenness? That is the distribution. Distribution of each species found in a habitat. How they are distributed? Are they distributed in equal numbers or they are distributed non-uniform? Either the distribution is uniform or non-uniform. Another way of this part of classification which comes here, that is called alpha diversity. There are certain type of indexes are there. What I've written here? Alpha diversity. What is alpha diversity? Alpha diversity is the diversity within a habitat. If you take a given habitat, within a habitat, diversity of species. Diversity of species in a habitat. Let's say in a given habitat you have a tiger, lion, elephant. All these three species. That is a alpha diversity. Second call here beta diversity. Beta diversity. What is alpha diversity? If you take a habitat, in that given habitat, what all species diversity you find? In the given habitat, you may have tiger, lion, elephant, rhinoceros. So that habitat, so that is called alpha. Now when you compare between two habitats, habitat number 1 and 2, total diversity of two habitats, that is called beta diversity. That is a here diversity between two habitats. When you compare two habitats, let's say one habitat has got elephant, tiger, leopard. and second habitat has got deer, rhinoceros. So if you compare both of them, so how many are there? 5. Tiger, deer, rhinoceros, elephant and leopard. When you take 2 habitats together, diversity species of 2 habitats, that is called beta diversity. And then you have a gamma diversity. Third one comes here, what is called gamma diversity. What is gamma diversity? All the habitats in a given landscape, in a given geographical area, if you take all habitats together, it gives a total diversity. So here is basically total diversity of species, total diversity found in all habitats in a geographical area. Or landscape. When you take, let's say Kanchenjunga, Nilgiri, Western Ghats, when you take all habitats together, all habitats in a given large geographical area, total diversity, all alpha and all beta, that makes gamma diversity. So what I've given here, that alpha diversity is the diversity within a habitat, inside a habitat. Beta diversity is diversity between 2 habitats, and gamma diversity, total diversity of a geographical area, is the total diversity of a geographical area or a landscape. That is called as the gamma diversity. The last line is not visible. All right. So let me write here. I am writing the last line there. I'll write a small one. Gamma diversity. That is the total diversity. Total diversity of all habitats in a geographical area. In a geographical area or a landscape. The landscape can be mountain, landscape can be coastal area, it can be island. What is gamma diversity? That is a total diversity of all habitats. You take all the habitats, right, in a geographical area, or landscape, that is called as a, so again you are not able to see that, or a landscape, right? Or a landscape. The last sentence, last word which you are not able to see, I'll read out there. Total diversity of all habitats in a geographical area or landscape. That is called as a, I've written here landscape. I think now it is visible there. And what is richness? Richness here means how many species you find in a habitat. Total number of species in a given habitat, that represent richness. Now in a given habitat, if you take each of the species and the numbers, how they are distributed, even or non-even, uniform or non-uniform, that is called evenness. And when you take large area and you divide into habitats, each of the habitat alpha, 2 habitats beta, and you take all the habitats of the landscape or geographical area gamma, right? Is it clear here? First you write the points. First you write the points there. Or landscape, I have written or. This is or. If you are still having confusion, let me write here or. You know what is the problem with few of your classmates? When I write, I read also. मैं लिखते वक्त बोलता भी हूँ, तो अब आपके आँख भी चलने चाहिए और कान भी चलने चाहिए. कुछ लोगों को क्या है ना, केवल देखते रहते हैं, कान सुनते नहीं हैं. So you have to be good, eyesight in terms of reading and also hearing. You have to hear also. Whenever I write any sentence on the whiteboard, I am reading out also there. So you can listen to that also. Right? This is where you have to remember that. What is called biodiversity measurement. Biodiversity mapping or measurement. Alright? So I have introduced here this concept. I am going to continue in the next class. We'll take examples. We'll take examples of biodiversity measurement and why we need measurement. What is the importance of measurement? And then we are going to discuss conservation. Right? Next class will be important. Again, it will be very, very important for biodiversity topic. This topic which I have discussed here. Again, I am making clear because many of you are, too much of, they don't listen properly and then start overestimation something on that. So I am again repeating there. Next class, I am going to start from here. Richness, evenness, alpha, beta, gamma. I start from this point. With examples, we'll take examples. And after that, I will go into the topic of conservation. National park, sanctuary, biosphere reserve, botanical garden, captive breeding centers, in situ, ex situ, we will cover in the next class. And I have given you already handout on the maps. Next class will be a very, very important class. I humbly request all of you to attend the class. If you don't attend the class, it's your choice. But if you are attending, you are going to gain something from examination. You are going to learn in the classroom. As an active learner, you will learn in the classroom. Right? So that's what I am coming here. So we'll continue here. Right? This will continue. Continue in the next class. I've written here, continue in the next class, ... I know that there may be doubts in your mind. So all those doubts will be cleared in the next class. Right? I'll start from here again. I've just introduced what is biodiversity measurement. Now your assignment question here. Your assignment question, what I'm giving here, there's a very simple question here. You can do the research and can part of it. So the assignment question is here, that is in terms of, let me give you assignment question. So your assignment question is that, discuss significance of, discuss importance or significance of biodiversity measurement. This is your homework assignment question. You have to answer in 150 words. Why biodiversity measurement is important? 10 marks question. What is the homework assignment question? Discuss significance of biodiversity measurement. Significance of biodiversity measurement. You have to answer in 150 words, 10 marks question. And we will discuss that in the next class. That is the assignment question there. Right? So we will stop the class here and we'll follow in the next class there. Right? We are going to stop the class here and I've given the assignment question. We'll start from here, the next class. So, okay, thank you everyone. I know that you all people are, 3 घंटा होते ही आपका अलार्म बज जाता है. So anyway, I will not extend further. So we'll meet in the next class there. All right. So stay safe, remain healthy, and be safe. We'll meet in the next class. And next class will be important class. All right. Thank you everyone. Good night. Thank you.